Hi there, and welcome to Watch It Played. My name is Rodney Smith, and in this video, we're going to learn the 2 to 4 player game, Cloud City, designed by Phil Walker Harding and published by Blue Orange Games, who helped sponsor this video. City Council is planning an ambitious project, skyscrapers so tall they go above the clouds, and you're one of the competing architects to construct this incredible skyline. So join me at the table, and let's learn how to play. To set up, first find the 4 starting tiles which show birds in the center. Pick a first player and give them the tile with 1 bird, and then hand out the rest in clockwise numerical order, so the second player would get the one with 2 birds, and so on. We're going to set up a game for 2 players, so we'll return the others to the box. Now find and shuffle the remaining tiles, which will have these backs, into some face-down stacks in the middle of the play area. And then draw 3 and put them in a row beside it like this. You also deal each player 3 tiles, which they'll use as their opening hand. And they can look at these, but should keep them a secret from the other players. You can use the box to organize the rest of the components that you'll need. For example, there are 3 different colors of walkways, and they come in a variety of different sizes. And there's also the different colored buildings. All of these you should keep nearby as a supply for the players to use when needed. For example, each player now looks at their starting tile and its 2 colored squares, and then they take the matching colored buildings from the box and set them on those matching spaces like this. The game also comes with these black-colored special request cards, but they're only used in the advanced variant that we'll discuss later in the video, so you can ignore them for now. Otherwise, that's the setup. In Cloud City, players will be developing a model city in front of themselves, trying to create the highest number and longest-reaching walkways between their buildings, which will earn you votes from the City Council, who apparently want super high, super scary long walkways up in the clouds. Earn the most votes by the end of the game, and you win. The game is played over 8 rounds, and during a round, each player takes a turn, starting with the first player, and then going clockwise around the table. And on your turn, you'll perform 4 steps, starting with expanding the base of your city. Here, you pick any tile in your hand to place directly by any other tile face up in front of you so that they're sharing a full side, and you can rotate the tile however you like. But once you decide on its placement, it must stay there for the rest of the game. Also, it's important to understand your city can never be bigger than a 3x3 area. Let's say it was a later round and you'd already placed these tiles. That means that when adding this one, for example, you could not put it here or down here, as that would create a city greater than 3x3. The only available positions now would be here, 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 or here. After putting a new tile down, you check the colored buildings that are shown breaking through the clouds and find the matching pieces to set on those spaces. The colors represent the different heights of buildings. Blue is the shortest, green is in the middle, and brown buildings are the tallest. These first 2 steps of your turn, placing a tile and adding buildings, are mandatory. You must always perform them. But the next step of your turn, known as building walkways, is optional. Here you can connect any 2 buildings of the same color that are not blocked by another building between them by taking a walkway matching their color and then setting it between them like this. The walkways come in various lengths, so just find the one that fits the distance that you're spanning. And each one will be worth a certain number of council votes, or victory points, as shown here printed in their center. The longer the length of the walkway, the more points it'll be worth. Now though, let me set up a few more examples like you might see later in the game to help explain some of the other rules that affect walkways when things get a little more complicated. As I mentioned, taller buildings can block the construction of walkways between shorter buildings. Here I won't ever be able to connect these 2 green buildings together because of this brown building in the way, and that's a shame because this would have been worth a lot of points. And that's why you have to be careful about how you arrange your tiles. Buildings of the same height also block other buildings of the same height. So in a case like this, you couldn't place a walkway stretching from here to here when there's another building of the same height in between them. Instead, you'd have to break this up into 2 separate walkways like I've done here. That said, shorter buildings don't block taller ones. So in this case, I could place this green walkway over top of this blue building. However, you can never add a walkway if it passes over an area of your city that doesn't have a cloud tile under it. So a walkway could not go here. Another important rule, and this one is easy to forget, is that you can never have more than 2 walkways per building. In other words, now that I have 2 walkways extending from this building, I could not add a third one to it like this. And remember, just because you can build a walkway doesn't mean that you have to right away. You can always come back and add walkways on a later turn. But as you play, you might run out of certain walkway colors or lengths in the supply. And in that case, you will not be able to build that type of walkway anymore. Okay, with that understood, we now come to the 4th and final step of a player's turn, drawing a cloud tile. Here, you choose any one of the 3 face-up tiles from this row, or you can draw a random face-down one from the stack. If you take one of these ones, just make sure you immediately replace it with a new one. In this way, each player should always end their turn with 3 tiles in hand, and then it's the next player's turn. And turns will continue like this, around and around the table, until everyone has had a total of 8 turns each, which means everyone will then have a 3x3 city model in front of themselves. And then it's time to count the final scores. Here you just add together all of the council vote values showing on the walkways in your city, and the player with the most total points wins. In the case of a tie, the tied player with the most council votes on the blue pieces wins, and if there's still a tie, the tied player with the most votes on green walkways wins, and if there's still a tie, the tied player with the most votes on the brown pieces wins. And if there's still a tie, the tied players share the victory. Now, if you have just 2 or 3 players and you want a slightly longer game with a bigger city, you can instead play until everyone has had a total of 11 turns, forming a 3x4 city. But otherwise, all the other rules remain the same. The game also comes with an upgrade models variant that uses these 10 special request cards, so let's talk about this now. To play this more advanced game, set up everything as usual, but then shuffle these special cards together and place one randomly face up next to the deck of cloud tiles, returning the rest to the box. In addition to the points that you gain from walkways, you'll now also earn or potentially lose points at the end of the game based on the upgrade card that is in play. For example, this one means that if your city includes a route of connected walkways made up of 4 different lengths, you earn 6 extra points. In this example here, we have a brown route that includes a 5, 2, 8, and a 3, so this player would earn the 6 extra points. And if they had a route with 5 different lengths, they'd score 8 instead. In other words, you can only score one or the other of these bonuses, not both, and you can only earn this bonus once, no matter how many different routes you have in your city. If you instead had this upgrade in play, it means you would lose 2 points for every building in your city that had no walkway connected to it. So in this case, I'd lose 6 points. We won't go through each of the different types of bonuses and penalties you'll find, as they're all explained here in the rulebook when you encounter them. But using these will give you something extra to consider as you play. And that's how you play Cloud City. If you have any questions at all about anything you saw here, feel free to put them in the comments below and I'll gladly answer them as soon as I get a chance. You'll also find forums for discussion, pictures, other videos, and lots more over on the games page at Board Game Geek, and I'll put a link to that in the description below. And if you found this video helpful, please consider giving it a like, subscribing, and clicking that little bell icon so you get notification anytime we post a new video. But until next time, thanks for watching.